Modi just did something on live TV that left Piers Morgan speechless, and now Americans are scrambling to understand what just happened to their economic dominance. India became the world's third largest economy last year, and Trump's tariff threats? They might have just backfired in a way nobody saw coming. If you've ever wondered who really holds the power in global trade wars, you're about to find out. But before we dive in, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button and leave a comment. I subscribe. And I'll personally welcome you into the family. With that said, let's get started. Picture this: Piers Morgan, sitting across from Prime Minister Modi, ready to grill him about Trump's proposed 26% tariff on Indian imports. The setup seems simple. Defend your country or back down. But what happened next? That's where things got interesting. Meet Raj Patel. He's 34, runs a textile import business in Illinois, and he's been building his American dream for 8 years. One tariff announcement from Trump, and Raj is staring at bankruptcy. "I've employed 12 Americans," he told me last week. "Now I'm calculating which ones I have to let go first." $120 billion in US-India trade hangs in the balance. Thousands of businesses like Raj's, caught in the crossfire. Everyone expected Modi to either cave under pressure or escalate with his own tariffs. But Modi's response? Nobody saw it coming. Instead of the typical trade war escalation, Modi did something brilliant. He announced reciprocal tariffs, but with a partnership offer built right in. It's like someone challenging you to a fight, and you respond by handing them a contract that makes fighting pointless. Here's why this matters. The Peterson Institute released a study in 2024 analyzing trade war outcomes. They found that reciprocal tariffs reduced GDP by 1.7% for the aggressor nation, but only 0.9% for the defender. Trump just picked a fight where America loses twice as hard. But let me introduce you to Sarah Chin. She's a Boeing engineer in Seattle, 29 years old, working on aerospace contracts worth $4.2 billion with Indian partners. Sarah's job, and 14,999 others like hers, depends on these deals continuing. "We just got word," Sarah said, her voice shaking. "If tariffs hit, our India contracts get redirected to European competitors. Airbus is already making calls." That's 15,000 American jobs that Trump's trying to protect by eliminating them. The irony is almost funny. Almost. But that's just the beginning. Modi had a second weapon Trump never anticipated. While America was busy threatening tariffs, India fast-tracked something called the digital rupee for trade settlements. And they didn't just launch it. They got 18 countries to sign on. You know what that means? International trade that completely bypasses the US dollar. The dollarization isn't some conspiracy theory anymore. It's happening in real time, and the 2024 IMF report confirms it. 23% of global trade now settles in non-dollar currencies. That number was 11% just 4 years ago. We're watching the foundation of American economic power crack. Marcus Johnson knows this better than most. He's 45, exports oil from Texas, been dealing with Indian refineries for 12 years. He called me last month, and I could hear the stress in his voice. "3 of my biggest clients just switched to rupee-based contracts," Marcus said. "They're getting 8% better rates by avoiding dollar conversion fees. And me? I'm watching my margins disappear because I'm stuck in the old system." Think of it like this. For decades, the US dollar was the highway everyone had to use for international trade. India just built a faster, cheaper toll road that bypasses it completely. And countries are merging onto that road at increasing speed. Now, here's what makes this even more dangerous for America. Russia started trading with India in rupees after Western sanctions hit in 2022. Then China joined with yuan rupee swaps. Now we've got Brazil, South Africa, UAE, Indonesia, and Saudi Arabia all testing non-dollar settlement systems with India. The dominoes aren't just falling. They're sprinting. And Trump's team? They're just realizing they brought a knife to a digital gunfight. But here's where Modi's strategy gets really surgical. He brings up pharmaceuticals. 40% of America's generic drugs come from India. Not 4%. Not 14%. 40%. That includes critical antibiotics, cancer medications, and life-saving treatments that millions of Americans depend on every single day. During the interview, Modi doesn't threaten. He just mentions supply chain adjustments, if tariffs proceed. Two words that sent pharmaceutical stocks tumbling 6% in after-hours trading. The 2023 FDA dependency report, the one they tried to bury, confirms America's vulnerability. 78% of active ingredients in essential drugs are sourced from India. We're not just dependent. We're dangerously dependent. Linda Martinez is 52, lives in Arizona, and she's diabetic. Her insulin already costs $340 a month. Half her grocery budget. If India restricts exports because of tariffs, Linda asked me, and I heard the fear, what happens to me? Do I just stop taking it? How is that America first? But here's the thing. Modi doesn't just point out the problem. He offers a solution. Joint US-India pharmaceutical manufacturing hubs. In both countries. More American jobs, secure supply chains, no tariffs needed. Trump wants to punish. Modi wants to partner. And guess which strategy American pharmaceutical CEOs are backing? All of them. Single. What? Because Linda isn't an abstract statistic to them. She's a customer they can't afford to lose. Now let me show you something most analysts are missing. The pharmaceutical leverage goes deeper than anyone realizes. In 2020, during COVID, when America was desperate for hydroxychloroquine, who did Trump call? India. When vaccine production needed to scale globally, who manufactured doses for 60 countries? India. The Serum Institute alone produced 1.5 billion vaccine doses. India isn't just a supplier. They're the pharmacy of the world. And Modi just reminded everyone what happens when you pick a fight with your pharmacist. But here's where it gets really interesting. This is the moment that's going viral. Piers Morgan, trying to regain control of the interview, asks the obvious question. What about American jobs? Modi doesn't hesitate. He pulls out a report and reads directly from it. Indian companies, Infosys, TCS, Wipro, Tata, and others, directly employ 425,000 Americans. Not contractors. Not gig workers. Full-time American employees with benefits, mortgages, and families. Then Modi looks directly at the camera and delivers the line that's being replayed across every news network. So when you say America first, Mr. Trump, are you firing 425,000 Americans? Because that's what your tariffs will do. Even Piers Morgan couldn't hide his reaction. You can see it in his face. That wasn't a talking point. That was a checkmate. The 2024 Confederation of Indian Industry report backs this up. Indian foreign direct investment in the US created a $40 billion economic impact across all 50 states. Every state. Including the ones Trump needs to win elections. Let me introduce you to three people whose lives hang on this decision. Amy Wong, 31, software developer at Infosys in Austin. My team is 80% American. We're building software for American companies. We're the ones getting hurt by this. David Brown, 47, construction manager on a Tata Steel project in Ohio. This factory revived our town. We went from 18% unemployment to 4% in 3 years. Now what? We go back to abandoned buildings. Jennifer Cole, 55, high school teacher in Michigan whose pension fund invests in Indian tech stocks. My retirement just became a political football. I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to root for anymore. And here's the kicker. Public opinion is shifting. A Harvard Kennedy School poll from March 2024 shows 64% of Americans now oppose blanket tariffs when job losses are actually explained to them. Not in abstract terms. In real numbers. Trump's own base is starting to ask questions. But let me show you something even more fascinating. The tech sector is where this gets absolutely wild. Silicon Valley runs on Indian talent. 36% of Microsoft's employees are Indian. Google so? Indian. Adobe so? Indian. IBM so? Indian. The list goes on. There are more than 200,000 Indian students in American universities right now, many studying STEM fields. They're not just students. They're the future workforce of American innovation. Trump's immigration restrictions already made it harder for companies to hire global talent. Now add tariffs that punish Indian companies investing in America? You're watching the brain drain happen in reverse. Sundar Pichai, Google's CEO, said something interesting in a 2024 interview that didn't get enough attention. If you make it harder for talent to come to America, and harder for American companies to partner globally, innovation doesn't stop. It just moves somewhere else. That somewhere else is increasingly India, Singapore, and yes, even China. And Modi? He's just getting started. Because here's what most people are missing. This isn't really about India. It's about China. The entire US strategy in Asia depends on India as a democratic counterweight to Chinese influence. That's not my opinion. That's Pentagon doctrine. The Council on Foreign Relations released an analysis in 2024 that's brutal in its honesty. Alienating India pushes the world's largest democracy toward BRICS alignment, strengthening China's hand by 34% in global South influence. Think about the irony. Trump's tariffs, designed to look tough on trade, might accomplish what Xi Jinping couldn't. Drive India away from US partnership and into deeper cooperation with China. Picture this. Pentagon strategists, watching Modi's interview, realizing that trade hawks in the White House just undermined a 20-year national security strategy. In one policy announcement, let me break down what this looks like on the ground. The Quad Alliance, that's US, India, Japan, and Australia, was America's answer to Chinese expansion in the Indo-Pacific. Joint military exercises, intelligence sharing, tech cooperation. The whole 9 yards. India participates because it sees China as a threat. They share a disputed border where soldiers literally had fistfights in 2020 because neither side wanted to fire the first shot and start a war. But here's the problem. If America treats India like an economic enemy, why would India risk Chinese aggression to help American interests? Modi's already walking a tightrope. He's got to balance relations with the West while not provoking China or Russia, India's longtime defense partner. Trump's tariffs don't just complicate that balance. They obliterate it. Former U.S. Ambassador to India, Kenneth Juster, said in a Foreign Affairs article last year, losing India's partnership would be the greatest geopolitical gift America could give to Beijing. It would reshape Asian power dynamics for the next 50 years. For young Americans, this means something even bigger. You're watching the possibility of the world's 2 largest democracies, representing 2 billion people, not being allies. Being economic rivals instead. That's not just a policy failure. That's a generational catastrophe. Now let me show you the timeline of how this escalated so fast. January 2025. Trump announces 26% tariff proposal on Indian goods, citing trade deficit. February 2025. India responds with measured tariffs on American agricultural products, hitting farmers in swing states. March 2025. U.S. tech companies start lobbying against the tariffs, realizing their Indian operations are at risk. April 2025. Modi announces digital rupee expansion, 18 countries sign on. And then the Piers Morgan interview. The moment everything changed. Because Modi didn't just respond. He reframed the entire conversation. He turned defense into offense, and he did it with something Trump can't counter. Facts, figures, and consequences. Here's what's happening right now behind the scenes that cameras don't show you. American CEOs are flooding the White House with calls. Not requests. Demands. Back down on India or watch us relocate operations. We're not talking about small players. We're talking Fortune 100 companies with billions in revenue and millions of votes among their employees and shareholders. Republican senators in manufacturing states are getting nervous. Their constituents are asking hard questions. You said tariffs would bring jobs back. Why are we losing more? Wall Street analysts are downgrading U.S. economic projections for 2025 to 2026. J.P. Morgan just revised GDP growth down by 0.4%, specifically citing India trade tensions. And international observers? They're watching America's credibility crumble in real time. Because here's the thing about being a superpower. It's not just about military might or economic size. It's about other countries believing you're a reliable partner, that your word means something, that you think strategically, not impulsively. Trump's tariff threats make America look erratic, unreliable, dangerous to depend on. That's not strength. That's weakness wrapped in aggressive rhetoric. Let me tell you about one more person whose story captures all of this. Meet James Mitchell, 38, Marine Corps veteran, now works as a supply chain manager for a pharmaceutical distributor in North Carolina. His company imports generic medications from India, distributes them to hospitals across the Southeast. I served my country for 8 years, James told me. I thought I was done fighting for America's interests, but now I'm fighting my own government's policy. These tariffs would force us to source from China, the only other large-scale manufacturer. Is that what America first means? Choosing China over India? James represents thousands of veterans who've transitioned into industries that depend on global trade. They're not anti-American. They're not globalist shills. They're people who understand that in 2025, American strength comes from smart partnerships, not isolation. So who really won this face-off? The answer might surprise you. Nobody yet. But someone's about to lose badly. This isn't about Modi versus Trump. It's about outdated playbooks versus modern economic warfare. It's about leaders who understand that in 2025, economic power isn't just about size. It's about speed, digital infrastructure, and strategic partnerships. Here's America's dilemma, and it's a real one. We can't decouple from China without India. We can't pressure India without strengthening China. And we can't maintain dollar dominance without offering better deals than digital alternatives. So what's the alternative path? What if, instead of tariffs, the US offered joint technology development partnerships? Streamlined immigration for Indian professionals who create American companies? Co-investment in supply chain resilience? Shared defense manufacturing that employs workers in both countries? What if we competed with China by being a better partner than they could ever be? Because here's what that looks like in human terms. Raj saves his business and expands to 20 employees. Sarah keeps her Boeing job and gets promoted. Linda's insulin prices stabilize through domestic production. Marcus adapts his contracts and finds new markets. The teacher's pensions grow stronger. James doesn't have to choose between patriotism and practicality. That's not fantasy. That's what partnership looks like versus punishment. But we're running out of time to choose which path we take. The next 90 days will determine whether America leads through collaboration or isolates itself through confrontation. Whether the dollar remains the global reserve currency or becomes one option among many. Whether India remains America's partner in containing China or becomes another country that hedges its bets elsewhere. Modi's interview with Piers Morgan wasn't just a political moment. It was an inflection point. A line in the sand that says the old rules don't apply anymore. Developing nations aren't waiting for permission from Washington to build their own systems. They're not asking if it's okay to trade in their own currencies. They're just doing it. And every time America responds with threats instead of strategy, with tariffs instead of partnership, it accelerates the very thing it's trying to prevent: the decline of American economic dominance. So here's what I need you to think about. If you had to choose between protecting American jobs with tariffs that might cost more American jobs, or partnering with India to compete against China together, which keeps America stronger for the next 50 years? Drop your answer in the comments. But here's the twist. You have to explain how your choice affects Raj, Sarah, Linda, Marcus, and James. No generic answers. Real consequences only. And if you think there's a third option everyone's missing, I'm reading every single comment. The best answer gets pinned. Because here's the truth nobody's saying out loud. Whoever figures out this puzzle first doesn't just win a trade war. They define what power looks like in the 21st century. We're tracking every move in this economic chess match. Part 2 drops when Trump responds, and trust me, his team is drafting that response right now. The game just started, and the board is bigger than anyone realized.